Well, here I was, in the middle of New York State wine country with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law for a weekend getaway. It was past 9 p.m., and we are settling into sleep. After a lovely dinner, we came back to the hotel and had shared a bottle of wine. The trip had been planned some time ago for my sister-in-law, Carol Ann's birthday, but a couple of family emergencies had postponed it. So here we are, far from home, and frankly, I am bored to death. Okay, not really bored to death, just antsy. My husband and I are pretty busy with the kids and work, and we both exercise regularly. So, sitting around not doing much in the way of moving about was building up a fierce need to get away from the other ladies in the family. Carol Ann is, unfortunately, morbidly obese and cannot get around well at all. So instead of hiking and exploring the countryside, we were limited to doing more sedentary activities. My mother-in-law, whom I simply call Mom, is great and very understanding and accommodating to both of us. Under the circumstances, it meant there would be no lovely walks or even taking in a museum or an art gallery. Though we did enjoy checking out a pottery studio and had a great time doing a wine tasting at a fantastic vineyard. What really didn't help the situation was that my husband and I hadn't had sex in over a week. It was my fault, really. I was too overwhelmed by working full-time and school part-time to allow myself the time to relax, even though I knew I should. My husband, God love that man, was understanding to a fault. Though I knew he was frustrated, he never pushed too hard for sex or made me feel guilty for not accepting his regular advances. Though I did feel guilty, which made me more frustrated and antsy. Stupid me, I thought to myself in his absence. The man had spent the last several years sculpting his body into a fantasy. For years he had been handsome and overweight, carrying it well for a man who was 6 foot and pushing 300 pounds. He was mine as he always had been. I had no real complaints. He had been large and active, big-boned as some might put it, no big belly. Just big all over like a burly biker. Then, after I had given birth to our third child, he had taken up martial arts. I think he just really wanted to be capable of protecting them. That led to him changing his diet and exercising regularly. He just changed his habits through sheer force of will, and the results. Phew. I mean, damn. Every time we went to bed, I felt like I was cheating on him. He was so different, and the difference was good. My man was now a lean, mean fighting machine. 6 foot tall with broad shoulders and a hard sculpted body, topped that with steely blue eyes and flowing blonde hair. He was like a Viking warrior or mighty Achilles. A godlike warrior, full of wisdom, passion, and might. And he was all mine, unless I shared. Now, to be completely honest, earlier in our marriage we had done a bit of swinging. We never went out looking for it. The situations just sort of developed with other couples we knew. What shocked me about my hubby's new body was that he never pressed us back into the lifestyle. A part of me always secretly suspected that once another woman showed him interest, and they do, he would at the least suggest opening up our bedroom again. But he never did. He was the same loving man that, even though we have played in the past, was wholly devoted to our life together. Now, here I sit in our hotel room, bored, full of energy, and feeling frustrated and guilty that I had not given my man a good seeing to before this trip. Trying to make up for it and satisfying my own itch, I began doing some awkward sexting with him. Hey stud, I miss you so much. We can't do much with Carol, and so I have loads of energy I need to get rid of. I sent him along with a few suggestive emojis. His reply arrived a couple of minutes later. Sorry to hear that, babe. Is there no way you couldn't get away for a bit? I bet a sexy minx like you can find something to wear you out in no time. Of course, he added 2 eggplant emojis surrounding a peach emoji to the end of his message. Oh, that man. He really knew how to tease me. I felt warmth spreading from my womanhood as I mused upon his reply. He knew that one of my favorite fantasies was getting spit roasted, like his emojis implied. Like I said, I am not very good at sexting, and my husband and I are honest with each other to a fault. So, instead of coaxing the fantasy along, I dash it with my own insecurities. You are so love-blind, I love you. Fat chance I can get such an opportunity. What with your mother and sister-in-law here, I sent back. His next message was a selfie of him shirtless and flexing, giving me one of his best lopsided smiles. The caption read, "To tide you over." Signed to myself, I send back, "Oh, so hot. Now I am all worked up. You are so mean to tease." He replied, "Love you, babe, putting the kids to bed." Leaning back in the bed, I admired the picture of him for a moment, indulging in the needy sensation his image elicited. Oh shoot. Mom's curse brought me out of my musings. The batteries are dead, she says, holding the TV remote. Kathy, can you go down to the desk and get some batteries? Mom asked. All of us are ready for bed, but I am by far the only one presentable enough to go out of the room. Mom was in a long nightie and Carol and was already lying in her bed and not likely to move until morning. I am wearing a blue tank top and gray cotton shorts, which wouldn't seem out of place at all. So, I hop up and grab the remote saying, "Sure, Mom." I pick up my room key and head out to the elevator. Catching my reflection in the mirrored wall of the elevator as I ride it down to the lobby, I think, not too bad for a woman in her late 30s. My breasts are natural C-cups that show almost no sag despite the kids they have nourished, and my hips and bum are well-shaped due to regular workouts. My long brown hair loosely pulled up into a sloppy bun looks playful but a bit askew, so I pull out the hairband and let it cascade over my shoulders and back. Striking a few poses to help myself feel as sexy as my husband finds me, I get a bit caught up in it. The doors open up to a lower floor, and in walks an older couple wearing swimsuits and carrying towels. At the moment, I was facing one wall of the elevator looking over my shoulder with a sexy pout at the mirror. There is no covering up what I am doing, and I burst into an embarrassed laugh. The couple grin broadly at me, and I can feel them both appreciating me as they put an arm around each other. As we exit into the lobby, the wife turns to me and says, "Good for you, dear." Well, that gave me a bit of a flirty boost. Standing for a moment watching the handsome older couple walking to the pool area, I consider coming back after my errand to join them for a swim. Walking up to the concierge desk, I feel a bit of a chill. They must have the AC cranked down here, I thought. I noticed the young man at the desk was distracted by something on his monitor, so I lean on the desk patiently waiting. Still looking at his monitor, the young man says, "Sorry for the..." He trips over his tongue as he turns to me. "The wait, can I help you?" Following his eyes, I realize the reason for his stutter. Having been ready for bed, I wasn't wearing a bra. So, with the cool air in the lobby, I was leaning across the desk with my cleavage on display. I stand up straight. He couldn't help himself. He gazes at my chest as if transfixed with his mouth slightly open. My earlier arousal starts to reignite as I enjoy being admired by a handsome man in his mid-20s. Abruptly, he looks up at me and his face blooms scarlet with embarrassment. He just silently stares at me, probably trying to restart his brain. Eventually, he shakes himself slightly and stammers, "Oh, sorry. I am so sorry. What can I help you with?" Smiling at him like he was a snack, I couldn't help but turn on some charm. Giving him a slight giggle, I say, "Don't worry about it," and I lean forward again. This time I deliberately use my arms to push my breasts together. Sure enough, his eyes dart down to drink in the sight, although this time he has the presence of mind to look up again quickly. "Okay, Brandon," I said, reading his name tag. "The batteries are dead in my TV remote." Passing him the remote, he quickly ducks down behind his desk and pulls out a new set of batteries. "Let me get that for you," he says as he pulls open the package and sets about replacing the remote batteries for me. Watching him as he fumbles with the remote, I get a good look of my own. To my eyes, he is about as tall as my husband and looks fit and clean in his collared shirt and slacks. He has deep brown puppy dog eyes, short dark hair, and a manly touch of dark stubble. All in all, I am as pleased with what I see as he had been. Handing me the remote, Brandon says, "Here you go, and sorry again." Giving in a bit to mischief, I put on my flirtiest voice. "Thank you, Brandon. There is nothing to apologize for." This time he smiles as he openly leers at me. "Have a good night, Brandon." At that, I turn toward the elevators, putting a deliberate wiggle for Brandon to enjoy as I left. Looking back as I get in the elevator, I could see him staring, so I give him a wave as the doors closed. Bursting into laughter once the door closed, I hug myself in disbelief as I ride up the elevator to my floor. Looking at my reflection, I say, "You are so bad." I couldn't believe I did that, but I feel so good. Snapped out of my reverie by the doors opening on my floor, I walk out into the hall. Damn it, I am so worked up, and it wasn't like I could get any relief sharing a room with Mom and Carol, and nearly at our door an idea strikes me. My in-laws would be quickly out for the night, but I had packed a swimsuit. I decide to change and go work out my excess energy in the pool. Entering the room, I hand the remote to Mom and quickly pull out my bathing suit. I am buzzing with energy. It looks like the pool is still open, so I am going to do some laps. I tell her. Mom appears to consider joining me, but after looking at Carol, and she gives me a nod and says, "Good idea, have fun." They resume talking and start flipping through the channels on the TV. I slip into the bathroom to get changed and grab a towel. My phone buzzes. "Kit settled to bed. How is your evening?" My husband's text read. Knowing it would excite him to no end, I relate my encounter with the concierge to him. Looking at myself in the mirror, I felt pretty good about myself. The phone lights up with my husband's reply. "Wow, I told you could find something to wear you out. You are a sexy minx," followed by eggplant, peach, and water spray emojis. His enthusiastic love and constant work to make me feel good once again bring out an ache of desire within me. Sending back, going to the pool to burn off some energy, I turn and snap a sexy selfie of myself and send it along as well. Grabbing a bag for my towel, key and phone, I wave to Mom and head to the elevator again. A new text from hubby arrives. "You are sure to turn some heads, you vixen you. Have fun swimming." As he had earlier, he added a bunch of suggestive emojis, heavily implying that I would be burning energy in another way than swimming. Feeling extra flirty, I send back, "You never know, maybe I will," with a winky face emoji. His reply arrives almost immediately, "Send pictures." along with a camera emoji and another series of suggestive ones. He really is a horrible tease. I mean, it really works, so I can't blame him. Sighing deeply and feeling a bit flushed, I walk out of the elevator and head to the pool area. Glancing at the concierge desk, I am a bit disappointed that Brandon wasn't there. I had hoped to give him another peek at me from afar. Sometimes a girl just likes to be appreciated. Luckily for me, my husband has no end of praise and encouragement to give. I resolved to send him a few racier photos of myself to keep him revved up for when I return home. Passing through the glazed glass doors to the pool area, I see that it is largely deserted. Other than the couple I met in the elevator paddling around in the pool, there isn't another soul to be found. Placing my bag and towel on the lounge chair closest to the partition for the hot tub, I wade into the pool. Taking a minute to just relax in the water, I return a friendly wave to the wife as they climb out of the pool. Getting as good a look at them, I think happily that if this is what being in your late 50s or early 60s is like, then life is good. They look in great shape for their age, and the way they look at each other made me yearn for my husband all the more. Once they dry off, I saw her husband give her a playful slap on the ass as they head for the door. Taking position at the edge of the pool, I begin to swim laps at a fast, steady pace. God, it feels so good to move. After the past couple of days tied down to my sister-in-law, this is exhilarating. I lose count of how many laps I did, but with my heart rate peaking and a bit of fatigue setting in, I climb out of the pool and wander over to the hot tub. Pressing the button to turn on the jets, I slowly sink down into the luxurious warmth of the hot tub. Feeling the tension ooze out of my body as I languish in the seat with my arms spread on the edges of the tub, I sigh deeply. The sensation of the bubbles washing over my skin revives my built-up arousal. Taking a quick glance, I still don't see anyone around, and the partition gives me a good bit of privacy. I allow my hands to travel up my thighs, leaning my head back on the edge of the tub. The thought of my husband's commanding masculine form hovering over me invades my mind. Suddenly remembering that I had resolved to send him some salacious images, I jump out of the hot tub. Hurriedly, I grab my phone. Looking around again, I see no one, so I pull my top down off of my breasts and sink into the warm waters again. Approving of the shot, I send it to my husband. Still feeling inspired and more than a little naughty, I hop up on the edge of the hot tub. Gasping sharply, I allow myself to savor it before reviewing the photo. To my eye, hot, so off to hubby it goes. I am a little disappointed that I have not received any reply from my husband, so I put my phone down, settle back into the tub, and reignite the jets. As the heat and bubbles do their subtle work upon me. Excuse me, the voice shatters my fantasy abruptly. Standing at the edge of the partition is the young concierge, Brandon. I look at him dumbfounded as I try to restart my brain. The difficulty in that is compounded by the fact that he is topless, showing off a lean, fit swimmer's physique in his athletic swim trunks. He continues in a polite tone, though with the slightest hint of a hungry leer. I am sorry to be a bother, but the pool area closed a few minutes ago. My mind engages at last. Oh, I didn't know. Taking in his full frame, I notice a prominent bulge in Brandon's swimsuit. He saw me, I realize, which only serves to bring out my earlier flirtatiousness. And he likes what he sees. My thoughts are at once consumed by the fact that this lithe young specimen witnessed me in the act of self-love. Holding up his hand as he walks up to the hot tub, he said, No need to hurry. My shift ends when the pool area closes and management lets me use it after I lock it up. He explains, I am going to have to unlock to let you out. So, if you don't mind having a bit of company. Gesturing at the seat next to mine, he seeks an invitation. My politeness, not to mention my lust, jumps into action before my better judgment. Of course, I don't mind. Thank you for understanding. At that moment, I realize that one of my hands is still stuffed down my bottoms. Being as discreet with my motions as possible, I do my best to act casual and remove it as Brandon rounds the tub and lowers himself into the seat next to me. Brandon's natural charisma is readily apparent as we engage in casual conversation. I could see why he had gone into a customer service field. He is so easy to talk to and never makes me feel like he is just putting the moves on me. Feeling like he was an old trusted friend. What am I doing? I am a happily married woman on a vacation with family. How can I be here with a man more than 10 years my junior, sitting side by side in our revealing swimwear? Every time Brandon's knee gently bumps into mine, I feel a surge of titillation travel through my body. I am on fire, I think to myself. Staring intently into his deep brown eyes, I barely register what he is saying. Then, as naturally as spring turns to summer, his hand rests upon my thigh. Not grasping, just resting like it belongs there, not asking for anything in return. The words fade as I lean to Brandon and find myself in a smolderingly sensual kiss with this strange younger man. I don't know which one of us started this forbidden contact, but for now, I do not care. Brandon's hands explore my body as mine do his. In that moment, I know I am all his. The line has been crossed, and I will not go back until I am satisfied. Breaking away from him, I stare meaningfully into his gorgeous brown eyes. Eat me. The words come from my lips, a command, not a request. Feeling especially naughty, I unlock my phone. Do you mind? I asked Brandon, passing him the phone open to the camera setting. He looks at me in disbelief for a moment before taking it. Looking up to the camera, I imagine it as my husband watching me perform. Every time I hear the camera go off, my body trembles with anticipation. I rationalize the affair by telling myself that this is simply foreplay for when I reunite with my husband. The camera is the vehicle for his presence in this forbidden encounter, and as I always had, I play for his benefit. Looking up at him, I see that he has started to put down the camera. Don't stop with the camera. I need to send this to my husband, I command. Gathering my strength, I roll over and sit up. Brandon sits beside me, wraps an arm around my shoulder, and pulls me in for a tender kiss. Sighing, I say, "Thank you," and lean on him tiredly. Brandon laughs at that. No. Thank you. Was that too much? I've never done anything like this before. It seemed like what you wanted. Replaying our lustful liaison in my mind, I broke out into nervous laughter. Oh wow. No. I mean yes. I mean no. You are perfect. I have never done anything like this either. I answer his concern. Thank you again. That was just what I needed. He hands me my phone. Glad to be of service, he says, flashing me a smile. Here. I pull up my phone in selfie mode and frame us together. The picture shows us sweaty, naked, and smiling as we each lean upon the other. Catching myself nodding off, I snap to and look around. Is there a shower down here? Brandon jumped up to his feet. Yeah, over here. He indicates the door for the shower just around the partition. Together we walk naked to the shower and proceed to rinse the residue of the affair from our bodies. Gently, we caress one another, soaking in the remembrance of our unexpected experience. A part of me was amazed at how gentlemanly Brandon treated me after the outright filth we said during sex. After inquiring why, he simply said, "I was playing the part you gave me." "Are you an actor?" I respond with a laugh. Talking casually as we put our clothes back on, I learned he had grown up in the area on a vineyard, so his sensibilities were actually quite traditional. His mother had always advised him to treat a lady to whatever she wants. "With how aggressive you were with the dirty talk, I figured you wanted me to match your energy." "Well, you definitely figured right. Thank your mother for me. She gave you great advice." I respond. Brandon's face grows delightfully scarlet at that. Just as I pick up my things, I open my phone, thinking to send along some of the pictures to my husband. Still blushing, Brandon puts out his hand for the phone saying, Smiling kindly at him, I pass it over. He inputs his contact info saying, "Just in case, anything you need." Now it is my turn to blush. Grinning broadly and feeling incredible thanks to the affection offered by this handsome young man, I give him a sweet kiss goodbye, thanking him once again as he guides me out of the pool area. Standing in the lobby of the hotel just outside of the pool doors, I take a few moments to breathe deep and prepare myself to return to the room. Looking over at the concierge desk, I discern a confused look on the face of the middle-aged woman stationed there. Giving her a polite wave, I make a beeline to the elevators. Riding up in the elevator, I stare at the woman in the mirror. "Do I even know you?" She looked exhausted, but happy and vivacious. Realizing that I was suddenly more than I was a couple of hours ago, I sought stability. Opening my phone, I thumbed through photos to pick some of my late-night fun to send to my husband. Ultimately, I did it for him, for my husband's enjoyment, right? The pleasure it brought me was just a perk of gratifying my man. At least, that is how I justify it. I thank God that my husband is both the devoted partner and father as well as the understanding pervert who gets turned on by my rare episodes of slutty behavior. Thumbing to the messaging application, a wave of shock went through me. Brandon had sent every picture along to my husband. A nervous thrill gripped my gut as I thumbed through the images. They show everything. I was growing excited thinking about my husband viewing them and being ready to reclaim me when I got home tomorrow. Then, I come upon the video. Brandon must have switched to film mode. Arriving at my floor, I looked for a private spot to view it. Ducking into the room with the icebox and vending machines, I turn the volume to minimum and start the video. The reality of what I had just done suddenly overwhelms me. Did I go too far? I began questioning every flirty interaction I had had with my husband. Did he really give me permission to play? He did, kind of, but was that for real or just flirty fun? We had done a bit of swapping with friends in the past, but nothing like this. I had seduced, or had been seduced by a stranger. And the things I said, would he accept the dirty talk as just that? I had been so enthralled with the fantasy of it all, I had effectively given all marital rights to an illicit paramour. With my words and actions, I had granted ownership of my adulterous body to another man. Would he really approve of this? I couldn't imagine my husband accepting any challenge to his place as the dominant man of my life. Had I crossed that line tonight, were the words I said in a moment of passion going to unravel my life? Leaning in the corner of the small room, a mixture of terror and desire consumed me. The video was incredibly hot. A part of me was glad to have it. I could watch and relive the experience anytime I want. On the other hand, it may be a nail in the coffin of my marriage. Panic rising, I think to myself, maybe I can delete it before he sees it. Checking the Messenger app again, I see that not only has my husband seen everything, he was in the process of writing a response. Trying to calm myself down, I remind myself, honesty and communication, right? The only way forward was through, no secrets. The rules of our past swinging episodes locked into place. My phone buzzes. A message has arrived and my heart nearly stops before reading it. It reads simply, wow. Wow what? Good wow, bad wow. What did he mean? Buzzing again, another text appears. Are you okay? Biting my lip, I fought to keep from sobbing uncontrollably. That powerful masculine specimen of a man who could easily ditch me for a younger model, the father of my children, his first thought was to check on me. Thinking furiously and typing through tears, I answer, yes, babe. It was all just great fun. He was actually very sweet. Can't wait to come home to you. Looking over the words several times, I say a silent prayer and hit send. Flipping to the selfie of me and Brandon in the aftermath of our adulterous activity, I inspect it carefully. Brandon's smile is sweet and slightly sheepish. Nothing to threaten my marriage, I think. No secrets. I whisper and send the final image off to my husband. Leaning heavily in the corner of the tiny room, I concentrate on controlling my breathing. I feel the need to get back to the room. I have been away too long, but I need to calm down and have some sort of resolution with my husband. Thinking to myself, is it that bad? I flip back to the video and start it over, evaluating every single detail with paranoid eye. My phone buzzed again. I tremble as I open the message. It is a picture. My husband. He is glorious, like Leonidas going to the hot gates in 300. My mouth waters at the sight. His serious face is on and the caption reads, "Get home. Fast." Recovering, feeling self-conscious, and completely drained of energy, I gather myself and walk to the room. Taking deep breath to steady myself, I open the door and walk in. My mother-in-law is half awake watching TV and Carol and is sawing logs fitfully. How was it? Mom asks. Oh, good. I reply casually. I met a sweet older couple and got in some great exercise. I would have been back earlier, but I got caught up talking to your son. Mom nods sleepily and yawns. That's good, she says and focuses on watching a home improvement show. I jump into the bathroom and change into my casual outfit for bed. Taking care to wash my swimsuit in the sink to reduce any possibility of my mother-in-law sniffing out my adulterous activity, I wring it out thoroughly and bury my towel in the bottom of the hamper. Glancing into the mirror, I am relieved to see the woman I was used to looking back, albeit more tired than usual. Pulling out my phone, I pose for another selfie. Sending it to my husband, I put my phone away and exit the bathroom. The next day, time stands still. At least it feels that way. My only thought is to get home to my husband. I desperately need to be certain my marriage is still on solid ground. His solid arms are my firm foundation. I was ready to go shortly after waking, but getting my sister-in-law moving proved nearly impossible, and we barely made it out of the hotel before checkout time. The 5-hour drive back home was agonizing. I did my best to mask my agitation, but Mom sensed it. Luckily, after dropping Carolyn off, Mom attributed my tense attitude to Carol and didn't suspect that I had been unfaithful to her son right under her nose. Reaching my in-laws' place as evening starts, Mom tosses me her keys and tells me to bring the car back tomorrow. The rest of the drive home was a blur. My mind was a jumble of wild possibilities. Would he just be gone? Would he hate me for what happened? Would he be cold and silent? Would he scream at me? Would he turn the kids against me? My insecurities ran amok. Walking into the house was so much more mundane than my paranoid mind imagined it. "Hey babe, need a hand?" My husband came down the hallway and grabbed my bags like they were tissue boxes. He takes them into the master bedroom before I can think of a response. "Thanks, honey." I called to him. His voice rang out. "The boy is asleep, but the girls will want you to say goodnight." "Okay," I answer and hurry to settle my babies. After 20 minutes of the usual late-night shuffle, we finally settle down at the couch. "What are you in the mood for, hun?" my man asks considerately. "You?" I reply, hanging all my hopes upon his response. Slapping me firmly in the thigh, my husband says, "Good, go to the bedroom," with a hint of steel in his voice. The order leaves me mute. Trembling with anticipation, I run to the bedroom and peel off my clothes. Crawling onto the bed, I pose on all fours, bum to the door, inviting my husband to take me. I hear him walk in and lock the door behind me. Smack! Pain blossoms across my upturned rear as his powerful hand leaves its stinging print. Whimpering, I collapse forwards, gasping as terror and titillation compete within me. His weight moves the bed as he climbs to me. Rolling me over, my husband's face lunges for mine and our passionate kiss ignites my fire for him to an alarming degree. Managing to sit up leaning against the headboard and pillows, I watch him as he pulls out his laptop. Setting it on the bed between my wide-spread legs, the screen lights up with a picture of Brandon with me. I am not angry. My husband begins calmly, and I don't want to be. "Not if you understand." I nod silently. "I am going to look through your phone now. Do you have anything to tell me before I do?" Shaking my head vigorously, I say, No. I sent you everything, no secrets." Producing my phone, he leans over me and uses my fingerprint to unlock it. "Oh," I say, suddenly remembering. Brandon put his contact info in my phone, but I haven't messaged him. Sitting next to me, my husband scrolls through the pictures on my phone. I assume he is comparing them to the ones I sent to him the day before. After inspecting the images and scanning through the video, he appears satisfied that I sent him everything. Standing, he says, "I appreciate that you kept nothing from me. I hope you understand how, under the circumstances, I needed to be certain. I love you and I trust you, and today you have earned that." I sigh deeply as relief washes over me. I really can't blame him for checking. I know I would have wanted to do the same thing if I were in his shoes. Though I did wonder, "Why tie me up then?" I ask. "That," he says with a grin, "is for the fun." Reaching into my bedside table, my husband leans forward and advances the image. This time the video starts playing. "Be patient. I have one more chore to do," hubby informs me as he pulls out his phone and makes a call. Who could he be calling right now? I thought. Another revelation shook me. I would do anything to appease my husband, anything. The thought made me feel weaker than I had considered possible and yet also added to my carnal delight. "Hello, is this Brandon?" I hear my husband say as I tremble next to him. Alarm bells rang in my head. Why is he calling Brandon? I think. Once again, the possibilities race through my mind. No, you don't know me, but you did get to know my wife very well last night. Calm down. No need to apologize. She had permission to play. I just need to clarify a few things, you understand? Right. First of all, you two had some pretty intense dirty talk going on. Now, it should go without saying, but I will. She belongs to me. It is not yours, correct? Good, good. I am glad we understand one each other. Now the second point. I understand you gave Kathy your contact info. I don't blame you at all. But this is how it is going to be. Your info is deleted from her phone. If it should ever be that you need to get in touch with each other, you will go through me. Is that clear? Yes, good. You sound like a man with a good head on his shoulders. I am glad this seems reasonable to you. Well, you're welcome. I will pass on the compliment to Kathy. Though it may surprise you to hear it, I appreciate the treatment you gave my wife. I really do. Ha, that's good. Oh, Brandon, one more thing, and understand that this is nothing personal. You seem like a respectful fellow caught up in an out-of-ordinary circumstance. But if I catch you anywhere near my wife without my express permission, the consequences will not be subtle. Yes, I am glad you understand. Good talk, Brandon. Have yourself a good night. Hearing my man claim me with his charismatic tone and friendly implications of violence unbound something deep inside me. Tell me how it started, he says as we both view the evidence of my infidelity. I texted you about how I accidentally gave Brandon a show while getting the remote batteries changed and then flirted a bit. I begin. He comments, so that was Brandon as well. Yeah, I say, blushing slightly. I was kind of charged up after that, so I went for a swim. I had the place to myself, so after I got in some exercise, I jumped in the hot tub. So, you're trying to blame me? He says sarcastically while caressing my sensitive thighs lightly. I respond, oh, you definitely are. He laughs, guilty. Going on with my account, I say, I was, distracted, thinking of you having your way with me when Brandon interrupted me. He told me the pool was closed, but he was allowed to use it after he locked it up. Then he told me I could stay as long as I wanted and got in the tub with me. Quite the coincidence, hubby says. Yeah, it was quite serendipitous. Well, we talked for a bit, and to be honest, I was so worked up, I just found myself making out with him. In my mind, I figured you had given me permission, and the events just fell into place, so why not? What next? He asks, giggling a bit as I remember how bold I got. I, told him to eat me. Stopping momentarily, he says, go on. Trying to concentrate, I say, he was good. That was when I grabbed the phone and started taking pictures, obviously. Hubby changed to the next picture. Oh, yes. I gasp. Rising to my face, my husband grasps the back of my head and gives me a deep, passionate kiss. My body feels as though I am possessed by avarice. Every nerve screams out in carnal need. Roughly turning my head to the screen, he starts the video and says, let's evaluate your first performance. Spare no details, you will tell me everything you thought and felt, understand? Finally, we cease moving. Gasping for breath, I lean heavily on my man. His strong arms wrap around me and I glory at being trapped and owned by him. He reaches out and deftly releases the cuffs from my wrists. I sigh in relief as the cool air contacts the chafed skin. Holding me tightly to him, my husband rolls onto his back so that I lay upon him, his cock still lodged inside me and my legs straddle his sculpted torso. His hands gently roam over me, one caressing my back and the other sliding over my haunches to hold my bum cheek affectionately. Unexpectedly, as I lay there exhausted and thoroughly sated, I am overcome by an immense wave of relief. Burying my face in my husband's shoulder, I cannot hold back as I tremble against him and tears of joy stream from my eyes. Oh, honey, I was so afraid, I sob, confessing my heart to my husband. I was terrified that I had lost you, that I had broken us. I thought you may hate me, be disgusted at me, oh God. Clinging to him desperately, the specter of my secret fears haunts me mercilessly. Holding me firmly yet with tenderness, he strokes my hair, going, shoo, shoo, as I soak his shoulder with my copious tears. Whimpering, I tell him, I don't deserve you, I can't lose you. I love you. I love you more than anything. Seeking his lips earnestly, we engage in a loving kiss. It is slow and deeply felt, moving past momentary passion to genuine love, comfort, and commitment. The overpowering relief so occupies my mind that I do not realize at once that my husband's manhood has recovered within me as we rock against each other in our embrace. The transition from comforting to kissing to lovemaking happens seamlessly. This was the slow buildup of physical intimacy that can only occur between seasoned partners. Moving against other with intuitive harmony, we strive for the edification of our commitment to one another, not simple détente. Holding still, we kiss tenderly, unwilling to escape from the comfort and peace of our embrace. His arms wrap around me and enfold me in safety and contentment. I love you, he whispers as I begin to fade into sleep. My last notion of the evening is being carefully rolled to my side of the bed and covered by our sheets as I feel him settle beside me. I know that something has changed in me, in our relationship, and I am unsure what exactly that means. But right now, I thank the Lord that I have the bedrock of the man lying next to me as I drift to sleep.